Hello and welcome back to the OnlyAccies podcast. It's been a while since we've done this, Brand, and the last one we did...
We're back.
The last one we did was Ronnie McDonald. We had him as a guest here at the G4 Podcast Studios, and I really liked having Ronnie in. He spoke a lot of truths, he spoke a lot of things that fans would want to hear, and we got a really good reaction for that, actually, from all the listeners. What did you make of him when he was in? What did you make of what he was saying?
I mean, I thought you might have started off by your usual, how was your day question, if I'm being honest.
Okay, well, Brandon, tell us, you look, may I say, like a winner.
Yes, well, I actually feel really, really tired. Today I played in a charity football tournament, which was for a really good cause. It was STV's Children's Appeal tournament. There was over 40 different companies playing within it, like ourselves, Arnold Clark, Biffa, just a range of different companies, and we won the STV Children's Appeal plate.
Fantastic.
So I must say, there was the sort of, so our trophy was the sort of Europa League.
Right, it doesn't matter, so it's the trophy.
So the group winners went into a knockout stage.
Right.
They played each other, and the runners up went into the plate, like Europa League, and played each other. Our group winners actually went on to win the tournament.
All right, okay.
Who had a player with the name of Lee McCulloch in their
playing for them?
Yes,
Ooh.
He was playing with a dental surgery.
All right, okay.
With a couple of other ex-professional footballers. I can't remember their names, but they obviously...
Oh, so they were the favourites and they were the...
Well, they were very good, but they also had very shiny teeth, so I think that's why they've been recruited in by the dental company, but fair's fair, they won it. But no, it was a really good cause. A lot of money was raised. I think the Children's Appeal goes on for a long period of time. It's not just like this sort of football tournament which they raise money for it. I think there's like sort of great runs, etc. they do it for, so it was a really good cause. But I am a bit tired now, and it was a good day. Left with a winner's medal, which is going to hang up in my wall.
Well, congratulations, mate. Congratulations. I will circle back, though, to the Ronnie podcast, of course. What did you make of that when he was in? Because I feel that we kind of left there, I don't know if rejuvenate is the right word, but what he was saying was kind of what we wanted to hear, almost.
No, and listen, I don't think there was a lot, I don't think he was bullshitting with what he was saying, do you know what I mean? He was very, very open, very honest, which... credit where credit is due. It's what we want to hear, and not necessarily some of the stuff all the time is what you want to hear, but you want to hear them being open and honest, which we always keep saying. And I think majority of things which we did hear, we actually it was really refreshing to hear. And no, we definitely left with a bit of a spring in our step, I would probably say. Especially off the park. I think for the past few years there's obviously been a lot of negativity between the club and the fans, and there's not been that much of a relationship, but I do certainly feel after that podcast, I don't think I saw any criticism of it whatsoever. I think everyone was behind it and saying how positive it was, and I think quite a lot of the fans, and not just us, were very rejuvenated about what he was saying and the hopes for what's going to come in the future and what was going to come after that podcast. So we just need to hope that the sort of clogs are turning, and more of that movement which he was talking about is going to continue to happen, so we can go in the right direction. Aye,
and I mean that's off the park, but on the park, I mean, it's not great reading really when you look at it. It's 1 win in 7 in the league. Lots of times dropping points from winning positions, as we criticised last season under Stuart Taylor. And I don't want this to be like a really negative podcasting like that, obviously, right? I just feel that I really like what Rankin says. I really like his ideology. I like what he's trying to get the team to do. But especially recently, I've just not seen it, to be honest. Now, we will talk about the other results, right? But just quickly on that last game there against Queen's Park, I don't want to say battered them in the first half, but we had chance after chance to the lead, especially in that first half. Some in the second half, and if it would have been clinical in any sense of the word, we probably would have won that game.
It all goes back.
Everything goes back.
Everything goes back to having the one thing which we always cry out for every season. It's, I think I saw a post from Taylor, which I was actually quite aware of beforehand anyway, that we had the most chance created out with Kelly last season since he took the reign, which speaks volumes for needing a striker, clearly. It looks like that's probably going to go down the same route. I think when we sort of predicted, I don't know if we've done it on this or if we've done it ourselves on another platform, about who we thought were going to win the league, I think what I said was Partick Thistle would win the league, because they've got a cutting edge. They've got people up top who can put the ball in the net, and I think that's the standard of the league. Every team can beat each other, and the one thing which puts teams, makes difference from certain teams and others, is putting the ball in the net, which was also shown at the Queen's Park game on Saturday. Who have they got? Simon Murray up top. Do you know what I mean? And that's, in my opinion, where we're lacking. I'm not criticising Teehee. It's a hard job for him, winter as well. I think he's improving week by week, but we need someone that can put the ball in the net, and unfortunately I think that window, we sort of need, especially Ryan being out injured. It was pretty naive, I would say, of us, which has been a similar case for a long period of time, to not get another striker in, because having someone in that could put the ball in the net is going to be the difference between where you finish in the league, whether it's top half, bottom half or whatnot. And yeah, Saturday we bombarded Queen's Park. How we didn't score, I don't know, but I didn't feel like we were going to score, although it was similar to the Scotland game yesterday, when we are having these chances against chances, and we just kept not being able to score them. So this has got to be one of the games where we're not going to score. We've been all over them, and the other team is going to come up the park and score, and that's exactly what Queen's Park done. They had a game plan in the second half, and it worked a treat for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said on Twitter, you mentioned Teehee there. I do agree. I think Teehee's improving week on week. I really like his hold-up play. I thought he held the ball up well against Queen's Park at time, bringing other players into the game. Smith's out wide and Andy Winters. But what I said is, and this is no disrespect to Andy Winter, because I think he's actually been one of the better players at the start of the season, especially against Queen's Park. I actually thought he was our best player. But I don't think we can rely on him to solely get the goals. And as you said, with Andy Ryan out for the foreseeable future, let's say, we needed another one in the window. I know the free agent market, I think, is still open,
and I really hope they're looking at it. I know it's
we won't. I know we won't. I know we won't, because we've got Teehee, we've got Winter, we've got Ryan Oney, and then Andy Ryan's coming back.
This is the thing which I think is that if these players were great players, which I'm not saying they're not, and I'm not saying they're not a standard player, you've got 20-year-old, I think Andy Winter's 20-year-old or 21. And then you've got a 16-year-old
who's coming off the bench.
How can you have that as your reliant front three in any standard of football?
Agree.
Do you know what I mean? Regardless of their ability and their potential, it's no fair to have that on their shoulders. Do you know what I mean? Especially when things aren't going particularly well, having them being your sole reliance to be the difference. So I think that's just naivety from ourselves. I think they're doing a lot of things, like Ronnie touched on, which really is positive. But within the matches, I'm being as positive as I can, try to get people behind them. But especially with the last results, it's quite hard to do. I just think the naivety, not bringing in a proven striker. I'm not saying go and sign someone that you're breaking the bank for. Just go and sign someone that's got a decent record. It's not hard to do. Other teams that are in and around us have managed to do it, so I don't know why we couldn't.
I mean, people like Ayr, who picked up that Akinyemi. I'd never heard of Akinyemi before, and yet he's absolutely killing the league. I don't know why, but these other teams just seem to find these gems of players, from whether it's the lower leagues in Scotland, whether it's abroad, whatever it may be. They just seem to find these gems, and we don't. We don't seem to uncover these.
I don't get about Akinyemi is it's our old head of recruitment that's brought him in, which I don't understand. I think, to be fair, I do think a lot of these teams we don't see because we are quite far away from them. If there's a good one, obviously it's noticeable by us, but I do think with a lot of these teams it is a bit like throwing shite at a wall and hoping one sticks. And I think on a lot of occasions that does happen with them. I just think we should have brought in another striker. It's no fair relying on these young boys to go and do the job, and it's proving costly because we are creating chances. We are probably beating better teams in quite a lot of matches. We're just lacking that cutting edge.
Well, let's jump back then quickly just to some of the older games that we've missed since we've been doing these podcasts. So first one was Ayr, 2 each, away to Ayr, and it was another late goal. We're ahead, I think twice we go ahead, and very similar to the Cove game, which we'll touch on actually. Twice we go ahead, and it's just another example of not being able to hold out. Now, I don't want to criticise with that Ayr game too much because it's a great goal. It's the same when we went there last time, and Keir McInroy scored that goal. There's not really anything we can do about it, but we sat back, we invited pressure after we went ahead, and ultimately that's what's caused us then to concede that late goal, taking away nothing from the finish.
The game, I don't want to obviously divulge into these games that are quite far back, but I think we got out of jail because 2 each, probably they deserve to win, let's be honest, but it's the manner in which we drew. Like you said, we're winning the game, late goal. It's just, I don't know if it is because they are so young that they're struggling to hold these games out. If it's a mentality thing that's obviously, which we keep touching on, Rankin, who's his class and what he says is brilliant, but is it just draining this mentality out of them? Like, listen, I'm not close to football, I don't know the sort of ins and outs yet, but there must be something more because it's happening too often where we just cannot hold on to leads, or we just can't finish off these games.
Yeah. I completely agree. Again, we'll touch on that a little bit more when we talk about Cove, but after that was Wraith 2-0, not much to talk about there. We were well beaten, didn't deserve to take it from the game, skip by that. Then there was Cove, good away day. Cove, did you enjoy yourself?
I had a very good day at Cove. No, it was a good day. Obviously a lot of alcohol was consumed. It was another one ticked off the list, so that's just Bonnie Rig now. But it was a really good day. And I think what I said sort of after the game to a lot of people on the bus, that's the worst team I've saw us play in a very long time. Right? A lot of their fans, I spoke to a few of them when I was going back to the bus, and they perceive themselves as being another Brecon. Brecon were in the Championship when I think they ended up with only 8 points or something like that. And I think I actually predicted Cove to be a bit higher up because I saw some of the players which they had, like Fraser Fivey, that
Shea Logan,
Mitch Megison, if that's how you pronounce his name, and they've got obviously Jim McIntyre as a manager. They've got a wee bit of money behind them, but they were fucking rotten. And again, it's 2 points dropped, which
it's 2 set pieces as well.
It's 2 set pieces, a free kick. One apparently was never a free kick. I think one of the Cove fans told me. Regardless, we've allowed to drop 2 points against a team that ultimately we should be beating, and it's going to be points dropped like that'll reflect on our position at the end of the season, and it's such a reoccurring theme that's happening constantly, and it's no good enough. And like I said, I'm trying to be as positive as I can this season, try to get people behind the team, and I think quite a lot of fans are getting behind the team now, and they are trying their utmost to sort of back the players and back the team, but it can be hard when it's just recurrently constantly happening. But no, it was a good day out, but again, just the results dampened it. If you were trying
to touch positively on the Cove game, I would say Teehee gets his first goal. So it's good to get him off the mark at least. As we touched on at the start, I think he's improving week on week, so it's good to get a goal done, and that's out of the way, monkey off the back, and then see how he progresses going forward. And Lewis Smith, it was one of the better performances you've seen from Lewis Smith. He got the assist for the second goal as well. One of the better performances we've seen. He's just not been able to carry it on into other games.
Obviously, Lewis Smith has had a lot of critics the past year and a bit because he's not sort of got to that level in which we expected him, especially last season coming down for the Premiership. I think he was sort of the one fans were going to rely on.
I think I tweeted something like, can't wait to watch Smith, Hamilton and all that, tear this league up and all that.
And I have been impressed. I say impressed. He's been one of our better players this season.
Do you think?
Yes. In my opinion.
Wow, okay.
Controversial or not, in my opinion, but there's not been many standouts for me, but he's certainly been better than he was last season. He's, I think, I don't know, he seems to have I'm not saying he's been more influential, because results are clearly showing that we're not, but I do think he's got a bit more of a spring in his step, and I don't know if that's something Rankin's saying to him or not.
That's interesting. That's not what I expected.
I think the positive, probably one of the positives which I've taken out of Cove was, and I've saw from previous games is, which one thing I've never ever sort of, what's the word, I've sort of labelled with Accies was set pieces. I think there was like a period of time where we went like 3 years without scoring from a corner or something. I'm not even exaggerating.
No, I believe you. Scott Struthers, you can tell us about that.
But there was a period when we were top league that I cannot remember when we scored for a corner, and I think now we seem to be doing different sort of styles. I think that is coming into play in modern football a lot now, is people doing different. We saw the young teams scoring that goal straight from the kick-off, which I don't know if they've got someone in to sort of work on set pieces and that type of things going forward, but that was a positive from me.
Do you remember we went through, sorry, just talking about set pieces, do you remember we went through that period? I always think about this, when Mark McLaughlin for a period of time was our top goal scorer, just from corners and free kicks, just get headers in the box.
I think he scored 2 when we were away to Ayr, when we get relegated. He scored 2, and then there was a period, I think, for the first 15 games he was our top goal scorer, 9 goals or something like that.
Because I said to my grandpa at that time, I went, yeah, guess who Accies, he was very well, so he wasn't going to games at the time, and I went, guess who our top goal scorer is? And he went, I don't know, none of them can score. And I went, Mark McLaughlin. And he went, they playing him up front? No, he's just getting his head on everything. Anyway, sorry.
So set pieces was my positive for that game. The day it was a positive, but again, it's quite stunning, if I'm being honest with you. Fans are getting right behind the team and doing their most to on it. We're obviously always told it's a young team, try and help them out, and I think fans are doing that. But like I touched on, it is kind of hard for other people to try and consistently doing it when you're consistently being let down on the park. And I don't think it's through lack of effort and through lack of us being the better team. I just think something's no clicking necessarily.
I want to ask you about John Rankin actually, because I put a tweet up saying that 1-1-7 is not good reading. We need to see more from Rankin and the team going forward. And I want to read you a comment from Mitchie, very well known Accies fan, who says when people were talking about Rankin, what do we do? You know, questioning his position, whatever you want to call it. He says it's not Rankin's fault that this season's bench resembles an under-18s team with no striker and a main option being a 16-year-old. What is his fault is saying we don't need another striker. We need preferably 2, as Teehee for me isn't an impact player. As an impact player, from the bench. This guy, like most managers, is trying to make a silk purse out of a pig's ear. Give him encouragement, as the last thing we need is more managerial upheaval.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what I was touching on at the start, is I like Rankin, I like how he speaks, but as we've talked about, we're not seeing that then translate onto the park. And I do think players like him. Whenever we speak to players, they talk about how good his training is. You see it when they put some stuff up on social media about his training. They all seem to enjoy it. He works them hard. It's just then translating that into games.
So is that the players then? Is it the quality of the players?
Is it the quality of players? Is it maybe Rankin still being naive in the job? I think some of his substitutions have been questionable at times as well. As we keep talking about, when we go ahead, we then sit back. Now that's not a new thing. That's not as if that's just came in with Rankin. That always happens.
We've been told that, but he's constantly hitting back at that, saying, and he's admitting it. Like it's not as if he's like holding back and saying, "No, we were the better team." Blah blah blah. He's coming out and says, "We need to finish games off. We need to come out and do that," and he constantly is saying that. So. Does that then go back? Is that just the players not translating on the park?
Does that then go back to the lack of leadership on the pitch? Needing people to push them up the park? Is it also the side of we don't have that experienced striker who, when backs against the walls, they can then take hold of the ball? Do you know what's just as I was talking that it came to mind? See when Ronnie came off the bench against Arbroath, it was backs against the wall. We were 1-0 up. No, sorry, it was 0-0 at the time. 0-0 at the time. We need a goal. It was backs against the wall for a period. I know they were down to 10 men, but they were still pushing us high. And because Ryan only carries the ball, he was getting the ball out wide and dragging the team up 20 yards up the pitch. And I just think that you can't rely on Ryan Oney to do that. He's only 16-year-old. But we don't have those players. We don't have an experienced striker to hold it up. We don't have
someone
a player.
In the park talking.
Somebody that Lewis Smith used to do that. Get the ball, we would beat two guys and drag you 10, 15, 20 yards up the pitch. We don't seem to have that now.
I just think it goes back to the old thing which we always say is having the mix of youth and experience, which we've not had for a few years now. Look when our youth was flourishing the most is when we had a mixture of youth and experience, and we've not had that for a while. And since we've not had it for a while, on the park it has been going a bit downhill. So
Teehee, we've mentioned a wee bit about, we do think he's improving week on week, etc. Another one that I'm interested to get your views on is Dario Zanata. And I remember when you were working when it was announced, I think, when it was, we and David had put in the chat, being like, Aki signing a new player, and we put Dario Zanata, and I remember you just saying, what? And I was like, aye, Dario Zanata, and then you disappeared for about 20 minutes, so you came back and like that, class. It was just an unexpected, nobody expected us to sign Dario Zanata.
I know, and listen, when he first signed, and I think as well as all Accies fans were really happy about it, I do think he will come as a good player. He clearly showed what he can do. I know a lot of the fans sort of criticised him a lot, saying X, Y and Z. They blamed him for their downfall last season, which clearly wasn't his fault, just because he was the one that was standing out at the start of the season. But no, I do think he'll come good. He is one that he is taking players on, but again, he's not got people in front of him. Do you know what I mean? He's taking players on, he's cutting in, he's having a shot, etc. But
he mentioned in the press after the games that he held his hand up and said, I should have scored at least 2.
He probably should have, and another day maybe they do go in, but it's just we can't allow that to keep happening, because how long are we going to go without a win? But no, I'm happy with the signing of Darius, and I do think he'll come good, and I think you've saw glimpses in games where he's playing the type of football which we do want to see. It's just getting that end product.
What I also quite like about Darius and that is it's like, see when we signed Josh Mullen, we're going quality player, proven at this level, but we've only got him on a loan, so he's not really going to impact. We've got Darius on a 2-year deal, so he can take, I don't want to give him too long, but he can take that time to embed into the team, get to know everybody properly, and then hopefully kick on. Whereas Josh Mullen, he could take 6 months and then half his loan's up, so who gives a fuck? Whereas Darius and that, we've got him on the 2-year loan deal. I agree with you. I think he'll come good. I really, really do. Who else have we brought in since we last on these podcasts? It has been a while.
Jamie Hamilton.
Jamie Hamilton, of course, is back.
Regan Thompson.
And Regan Thompson.
Two players we've not seen yet, and I'm quite curious to understand. I think we all knew that Jamie Hamilton was going to be fit. For a long period of time. I didn't think it would be this long, right enough. And then Regan Thompson as well. There's not really been anything been said about him.
Nope.
Like, we've signed him, seemed like a good player, a good signing on paper, and then it's just nothing's really been said. So is that again a bit naivety, signing players that aren't fit, or is it players who have clearly got ability and they've got potential, but is it going to be the case that we need to wait a few months down the line for them to come into the fold, and is that going to be too late or not?
I mean, we've got Jamie on, is it another 2-year deal? Regan's on a 2-year deal as well. So again, it's maybe a case of they gave them these 2-year deals because they know it's going to take them that however long, a few months, a few weeks, whatever it is, to get fit, and they're going, we're then not stuck with, they've only got 8 months left on their deal. You know, you've got that extra year to back up with. Jamie Hamilton, I think, is good to have him back. I do agree with what people like MD are saying on Twitter about not then being fit for the season starting, sitting there as a free agent. That's not good enough, man. I mean, I don't want to criticise him too much, but he should be at least somewhat fit. I mean, I get no being match fit because you're not playing the friendlies, you're not doing any of that, but keep yourself in a position where you're no that far out for being in the team again once you get signed.
I don't believe these things that are circulating saying, he's just sat in and played
definitely not.
Not a chance in hell is that the case. But no, I think the thing that happens that we always touch on every season is we don't start the season until about February.
Yeah.
And it's just, is it naivety? Just did he truly believe that we're going to be better than what we were at the start of the season, then the sort of alarm bells start ringing because we've left it so long. I don't know, but listen, I think on paper both are really good signings. You know what we feel about Jamie Hamlin. I think we're the right person in charge. He will kick on. Regan Thompson.
Rave reviews when we signed him.
Obviously can't really judge him because we've not seen him, but it's just when are they got to be fit is the question. So it'd be good for a bit of clarity whilst the international break is on. Hopefully that gives him a bit of time.
He did say that in the press, John, this week.
Yeah, okay.
He did
Shows
say
you how much I've been paying attention.
No, he did say that the usual stuff, they would have rather played the games and the time and all that, but the international break's good because I think he said Dario and Scott Martin picked up a wee injury against. So that gives them time properly to recover, and then obviously gives Jamie and Regan an extra week to kind of get back on back fitness wise. Another player I want to talk to you about, Lucas De Ball, De Baller. I think you put in Twitter.
We called him De Ball when we signed him, and I'll very much stick by De Baller.
He looks good, doesn't he? I know it was only a wee cameo we saw him against Queen's Park.
He's not going to be able to do it all himself. He's not playing with a Premiership team. He's not getting minutes. He's not getting time on the bench with a Premiership team. They're huge. Like Newcastle are massive. And obviously they've got their Saudi backing. Do you know what I mean? They've signed him in an extra deal. Why, when they've got all these finances available, would they sign a young boy on a longer deal if they didn't think he was a De Baller? That's Rankin part, man. But no, for the brief cameo which we saw him, it was brilliant. But like I keep touching on, you can't just rely on a 19-year-old boy. Yep. You need people in front of him, so he can have all this product he sell going forward. But if you've not got people in front of him, then it's not going to be useless. Of course, he's not. But you just need to. It goes back to that we should have signed a striker. But no, hopefully with him playing a full match, he might influence the other players, get them a bit of confidence. Hopefully we see Ryan back a lot sooner. But no, I'm very I'm looking forward to massively to seeing him against what a game to
I know.
Hopefully start his first full 90 minutes.
I was going to say that. Does he start for you against Dundee?
1,000,000%.
Yeah,
all day long. And
what a game to make your name.
Here you go. Go and get us our second win of the season against our friends at Dundee.
Our friends at Dundee, yes. Very good.
And then we have a new segment.
We do have a new segment called Only the Fans.
Not only fans.
Not
Ben's
only
not
the
going to
fans.
get out in his wife fronts.
Trust me, you do not want to. Did you see Lewis Capaldi's music video?
Is that what was in your Yes, I was actually picturing you like Lewis Capaldi. That's a bit wrong, but so only the fans. Do you want to explain it?
Only the fans. So you put out on social media, Instagram and Twitter. All links in the description if you want to follow us there. That'd be great. Asking for questions, topics for us to cover on the podcast. Anything you want to hear about. Not necessarily about Accies, just about football, whatever you want to talk about. Obviously, the most of them are Accies, but plenty to go through. We won't be able to answer all of them. You're in the dark about this.
I've been very.
You've been winning football tournaments.
I've been winning football tournaments, working very hard for my baby girl, and trying to stay off the social media just after the football game, after Accies games, because I just can't be arsed being down. But to be fair, I don't think there's really been much engagement after games recently. I think people are a bit scarlet. But hey ho, I don't know what's about to be asked, so this should be intriguing. Very off the cuff, hopefully.
Let's do this. So Liam has asked, knowing the system that Rankin is playing isn't working at the moment, what would you and Brandon's ideal lineup and formation be for the Dundee game?
Okay.
I might not. I won't ask you for your whole lineup,
okay,
but a few players maybe you want to see included, or particular positions that you think need to be filled by certain people to win that game.
I would go. Well, it goes back to that. It depends on who's fit. If everyone is fit, then I would be going with a 3-4-1-2. 3 centre backs, 2 of our Shields and
Doyle.
2 midfielders.
Who's your midfielders?
Scott Martin and Steve Lawson.
Okay.
Lucas De Ball. Teehee winner.
I don't think I disagree. I think that's what I said after the game in the video.
I think similar. I'm not. This is no discredit to Lewis Smith or Daryl Zanata, because I do think they have had an influence in games. However, I think the two centre backs leaves us a bit lacking at the back, because our two full backs like going forward.
Did you say who your third centre back was?
I didn't say who my three centre backs were. I'm hoping Jamie Hamill's fit.
All right,
but
okay.
that would be my
I think I said something similar, and I think it was along the same veins, because I said about it then means you can rotate in Dario and Debola in the 10 position, but it also means you can drop Lewis Smith, and I think he might like that the now. And this is something I actually wanted to ask you about just on this. It wasn't asked in here. So I said on Twitter that I think dropping Lewis Smith might be what's best from the now. Get him out the limelight a wee bit, let him come on off the bench, impact games from there, try to build his confidence. But then the other side of that is, and I was listening to a podcast with Roy Keane, and what he spoke about was when players' confidences were low, they're better to play through them. So rather than take them out the team and then maybe drop their confidence even more, keep them on, let them battle through it, and that then builds their character, as he goes on about. What do you think about that? Do you think dropping Lewis Smith might be...
I know I've just said that team, and I don't think he's been one of the ones that probably do deserve. I think I'm going with the team because I don't know why I'm going with that team, to be fair. I'm going for it because of the three centre backs and two wing backs. I just think we're too exposed at the back. I think that Martin and Lawson gives us that extra stability as well. In the centre mid, they can go forward as well, but there's also that barrier. And then whether it's the ball or Smith or Zanata, I just think that I'm not necessarily saying that he merits being dropped. I just think because at the moment with people who are out injured, how bare thin our bench is, whenever we're getting beat or whenever things are perhaps on a level playing field, all we've got to be reliant on is a 16-year-old boy. We never had, obviously Lucas the ball came on at the weekend, but he's like a sort of centre mid sort of play. He's not proper attacking. Do you know what I mean? So we've got these players that can come on. So if we had Smith on the bench, that on the bench, and you've got Oni on the bench, we've got these attacking type of players that we can bring on and have an impact in the game. So we're not just reliant on the one person. I just think. I don't think by merits getting dropped. I just think having him on the bench to go and make an impact, but hopefully come on and have an impact, would do his confidence in a world of good. However, it could also backfire. He could come on, he could be pish, and his head's just even further down because he's already been benched and he came on and been pished, so he's just going to be stuck in that bench. So I'm a football manager. I don't make these decisions. I just have the opinion. So.
And the opinion does you well. Look at you.
Thank you.
John,
what about you? You've not answered.
Now I said on Twitter that I think dropping Smith might be good for him.
Do you think he's been one of our worst players? If you're being honest,
don't think one of the worst.
Is it just because you've got high hopes for him?
Possibly. I mean, one of our worst players, I think, is maybe a bit harsh, but he's definitely not been one of our best. Which is why I was so surprised when you said it.
I just think he's.
I don't think he's been anywhere near and he wasn't very impactful last season. But I don't think he's been near last season, which is why again I was surprised when you said that he was.
I just think he looks. I don't know. He looks like he's trying. I don't know.
Listen, I'm not saying he's not trying. Of course he is. And I do agree that since Rankins came in, he seems to try that little bit more. But as you said, it might be down to I've got such high hopes for Smithy. I've got such high expectations. Anyway, sorry. John Patterson, JP, has asked us, it's the Accies 150th anniversary next season, making us one of Scotland's oldest clubs. What would you like to see the club do to celebrate it, and do you think the club have any plans to do so?
I think we've went on time and time again about fan engagement with the club, put ideas, etc. to them. I have a bit of confidence that some of these will hopefully come to fruition should we go and speak to certain people about it. I don't know about yourself, but I'm getting sort of more positive vibes that things might come into play, because I think it needs to, rather than these mystery nights.
Murder nights, mystery murder nights.
Murder nights, murder nights.
Naked butlers.
Naked butlers. So fingers crossed we can see more Accies things. But with regards to the 150th, I think something will definitely happen. I think we've spoke with Ronnie, Alan, spoke with the new commercial commercial directors, Jerry Strain, who very positive when we spoke to him. I think his ideas is very much in line with what fans would want to see and would want to hear. So I have confidence that things will happen for the 150th anniversary. What that will be, I don't know. I certainly would like maybe a commemorative match against a bigger team, for instance Stoke. Alex Neil's there. Like, I think the
Chelsea.
By the way,
Billy.
They've also got the John McNaught connection there. So I'm actually going to touch on him later on. I did see one question. I think they should get a sort of commemorative match to sort of celebrate the 150th anniversary. The club don't really give us those glamorous friendlies or those away ties, which we'd love to do. So I think giving us that would go down really well.
Yep.
Obviously, the one thing is giving us a home and away top, which isn't your catalogue.
Yep.
Bog standard.
Fully
hooped home and foot the you know what top we want for.
We don't even need to. Let's not even say it because people know what one we're talking about.
One we're talking about for the away top. So I think having the 150th home and away fully hooped tops would go down fucking a treat. I think there might be something else in the pipeline as well. I don't want to really reveal what it is, but I do know that there's something else behind the scenes that's definitely going to be published. And yeah, I think they should take full advantage of it. We always go on about events, engaging with the fans, and what better time to do it. I hope they do it before then, don't get me wrong. Hopefully we do get things before then, but I do think for the 150th anniversary there's a lot of scope for things to happen, and we've just given them a few ideas there. A friendly celebrating 150 years, 2 kits, and I'm sure after this we'll get more ideas from fans.
Well, this is another thing. Comment, YouTube, at us on Twitter, reply to this tweet, whatever it may be. Let us know what you would like to see the club do for the 150th anniversary. Ideas. Any ideas at all, let us know in the comments, because they're always good to hear. Another question from Callum has asked us, how long do you think it will take to get back to the Premiership? Now, just to caveat this, the club said 3 years when we spoke to them last year. So this is our second year of the 3, and I don't think we're any closer to going up. But how long do you think it will take, realistically, for us, if we ever do, which I think we will, but if we ever do, to go back up?
I will say from now, 3 years.
3 years from now?
Yes. And my reason behind that is solely because if it wasn't for the podcast in which we had a few weeks ago, I'd have said a long time.
Yep.
However, I do believe Ronnie he always has obviously had Accies at heart, but the fire that was like sort of, clearly there was sort of fire in his belly, and I do believe him when he says he wants to get his club back to where he feels they belong and where they've been the past few years. We've been in the Premier League for more years than we weren't in it for the past sort of 2 decades, so I think we'll get there soon with him at the helm, should he continue.
Now, I don't want to sound like a negative person here, right?
I know like on the pitch we're very far away from it, but the standard of the league is rotten. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at Ayr, they were my tip for being second bottom, and look at them, just because they've got a goal scorer. They've not got, there are other players are nowhere. I wouldn't say there's players that they've got in their squad are better than our team. No. And I don't know if this is us being naive, because we always go on about the standard of players that we've got, and is it us just being overhyping our own players? I don't actually think it is. I think we have become poorer, but I think player by player we've got good quality standard of players. And look at Ayr, they've got a goal scorer, and they're at the top of the league or whatever they are, second in the league. Thistle, I predicted they'd win the league. I do think they will. Dundee, they're not spectacular, do you know what I mean? So the standard of the league isn't that good. All you just need to have is a bit of logical processing and to get a good start and make sure things behind the scenes are working. And I don't think Ronnie would be back at the helm if he didn't have an end goal.
Yep.
So that's my reason for saying 3 years from now. I do believe them when they said they had a 3-year plan. They didn't really give a sort of an outline of the plan. But I think from now is when that real plan probably does start. I think last year was just a write-off, and hopefully it will be within the next 3 years. But yeah, it could be longer. I
agree that if Ronnie hadn't come back, I'd say a lot longer. But from now, I'm going to go 4 years. I think about 4 years before we go back in. Goodness, I cannot pronounce that. I'll just call you Rambo. Rambo has asked on Instagram. Is that who that is?
No, let me see. I don't know who the fuck it is. I want to try and pronounce it.
Rambos Utterbad.
What?
Top right. Rambos
Suter BDA.
Well, there you go. Rambos Suter BDA.
Rambos Suter likes the darts. BDA.
He's asked, what position other than a striker do you think we should target in January? Centre back.
Yes.
Centre back. For me, anyway, it's a centre back.
Yes, definitely a centre back. Easton's not getting any younger.
What's your opinion on Easton? I want to ask you this, right? Because Ian HFC, who watches the podcast, right, he's quite synonymous on Twitter, right?
I don't know who this is. Like, Ian, see next game, please say hello, because
please come and introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'll see you. So
I'm interested to get your opinion on this, right? He doesn't think that Easton's anywhere near good enough, and he doesn't think he should be near the team.
Okay.
I think, no disrespect to Ian, I think that's mental.
I think it's mental.
Because I think Easton has been one of our best players for the last 2 years, and we spoke quite a lot in the podcast last year. I held my hands up and said, at the start of the season, this is Easton's last season, he's done. And then as soon as he went out the team, we were shite.
I think he offers you that stability, but like we say, he is turning a wee bit into... what was that player that we had that went... Who was the player that went to Kelly? What did I call the Tin Man?
Blair Alston.
He is getting a wee bit like Blair Alston. He's getting old. Do you know what I mean? So he's obviously...
Blair Alston's not even that old, but he moves like an old man.
No, but like, obviously he's going to get slower. Do you know what I mean? And in modern football, obviously having a bit of pace as centre back it does benefit you a lot. So Easton's getting older. He will be nearing retirement. He's obviously having a lot more to do with the coaching. So yeah. To answer Rambo's Suter BDA's questions, sorry, I would agree with you, Ben. Centre back, build on someone for the future, or not necessarily build for someone in the future. You've got O'Reilly at nearing prime age. You've got Jamie Hamilton as the one for the future for another year. Get someone else in that's your sort of 27, 28-year-old, nearly hitting their prime centre back age. And just plan for next season, because well, I might be completely far off this. I don't think we're going to go up this season. I hope to hell we don't go fucking down. I don't even want to think about that, because I don't know what that would mean as full-time, part-time, if I'm being honest. But I think in January, get planning for next season. Like Stuart Taylor kept saying, I'm planning 3 windows in advance.
That went well.
Get a centre. I've rabbited on there, but centre back, plan for next season. Get the core of the team ensured to be there, and we go again.
Jack has asked, should Ryan Oney get a starting place alongside Teehee? Now, we talked about this a little bit earlier on. I personally don't think Ryan Oney's should be starting anytime soon, and that's not anything to do with his ability, it's to do with his age.
I think
we spoke a lot about rushing young players in, forcing them in when they're not ready. And again, that's not to say Ryan Oney isn't ready. I think he's going to be a very, very good player, and he's already shown signs that he'll be a very, very good player. But I don't want to start relying on a 16-year-old so early on in the season.
I was quite drunk on Saturday, if I'm being honest with you, and I spoke to his dad.
All right, aye. He's at every game.
No, his dad's obviously a really nice guy, and he was very humble about his boy. And obviously I was asking him how did he feel about getting recalled from the Scotland team, because obviously all his mates were there, and
Kiss him again.
Yeah, that must have obviously been quite a hard thing for a boy at that age when all his pals are away in Spain. He spent every day for, and he's been recalled to be on the bench against Queen's Park.
Yeah, completely.
Accies. And he's like, listen, he's very humble. He knows where he wants to go, and he needs to put the effort to be there. But I think he was of the same mentality as me, as he's only 16-year-old. He doesn't want him to be rushed as well. Do you know what I mean? For his own like mental mental strength as well as his development. So no, don't put him on to start. I think if he goes on a run and if he's coming on the bench, he's been really good coming off. He's not a striker, so see this. He's a left winger. Do you know what I mean? This is what I don't like, playing him up front. No,
this is interesting, right? Because I would agreed with you, and I was speaking to Liam at the Queen's Park game, who goes and watches under 18s, and he says that he plays out wide. He said, but then as soon as you move him in the middle, he scores goals.
But he's moving himself inside.
That's what I'm saying. So maybe he is a winger.
He's a winger, and he naturally drafts in and scores the goals. Do you know what I mean? So.
Because he played it wide against Arbroath and he came off the bench and he ripped them apart.
He's got that ability, he drives the ball forward, but then he can just move it so quickly inside him. Do you know what I mean? He's a really good player. I just don't think it's fair that we're relying on him. He's a very good impact player, and I think for his own development we continue for him to be playing in the manner in which he is until such times where he is either someone else or just consistently not playing well enough, which we're going down that path perhaps happening because we've got 1-1 and 7. So it might be the case that I would be starting because we sort of need to because we're not getting the results. But nah, until it's sort of all hands on decks and just continue doing what he's doing, and he'll keep developing and he'll just keep getting better and better, and I've got a very high hopes for him.
Nathan Kirby has asked us, if the Scotland squad was only made up of Championship players, who would be in it? Now, we're not going to build a full 11, we don't have time for that, but is any players... If there's any players in particular that are in the Championship right now that you think, if the Scotland squad was made up, they will 100% be in it, who do you think it would be? I love this question.
Does it need to be Championship Scottish players? Or can it be actual just fucking Championship players?
One for me is Kerr, Dundee. He gets in that team 100%. I think he's a great defender. Scott Tiffany. He gets in.
Scott Tiffany for me. They wouldn't get in the Scotland squad, but for the questions purposes,
I'll give three. You give three, right?
Okay.
So Kerr, Scott Tiffany,
okay.
Awo Mackay, Inverness.
Billy Mackay.
I'll go Billy Mackay. Scores goals.
Okay. I'm going to go with Dylan Easton.
Great shout. That's a great shout, Dylan Easton.
It's a really good question.
It's a brilliant question. This is one I think that we should return. We'll come back to this question. Like, give me your three, but we'll come back to this question at a later date, and we'll build an actual team. We'll build an actual team around this question because I love it.
Dylan Easton, Michael McKenna. He's not really done anything this season, but there's Arbroath. There's another few shouts in Arbroath. You could maybe have went with Scotty Allen. He's been in the squad before.
Who was your controversial one? Because you said you had one controversial one.
So I've got a controversial one because every and this is going to make no sense because I've literally just said I wouldn't have him in the Hamilton Accies starting 11, but every international team needs to have a star boy and a golden boy that sort of surprises folk. So I'm going to throw Ronnie in there. For the reason being, I think the fans would take to him massively having a 16-year-old in the squad who's exciting. I've just said I wouldn't even start him with Hamilton Accies, but I've got him in the Scotland squad, so there you go. So Daniel Easton, Michael McKenna and Ryan Oney is in my Scottish squad of the Championship.
As I said, we're going to come back to this question and we'll build a proper 11 around this and return to another podcast, and we'll finish on this question. It's from Tatty.
I'm only kidding.
It's a great question, though, to be fair. Which Accies player from before you were born would you have liked to seen play?
I said I was going to touch on it before. John McNaught. Wurzel. I actually know his boy very well. Also John McNaught. Unfortunately, John McNaught Senior Wurzel passed away at a pretty young age. I'm led to believe. I think he passed away in his 30s. But if he was a Chelsea player, do you know? It's definitely a player that I would have loved to see, because just the stories I hear about him, the fact he's went from Accies to Chelsea. Chelsea weren't of the level in which they are just now back then, but they were still one of the bigger teams in England, and it just speaks volumes if you're going for Hamilton Accies to them. He clearly knew how to put the ball in the back of the net, and he apparently just on the ball he just like sort of glided with it, if you understand the sort of way in which I'm going with that. So aye, 1,000,000% Wurzel.
Mine is one that we've been lucky enough to have on the channel, and that's Paul McDonald.
Okay.
Obviously before our time, anything I hear from Accies fans about Paul McDonald was how exciting he was. Similar to kind of what you were saying there, smooth with the ball, like to beat a man, just like an exciting player. And Accies don't have a long history of exciting players, and Paul McDonald seems to fall into that category. Similar move, big money at the time. I think it was like 50 grand at the time to go down to Southampton. But Paul McDonald, whenever I hear about him, excites me, and I kind of think, fuck, I wish I had seen him really in his prime. Was part of the B&Q Cup winners, along with Ferguson in that as well, and Billy Reid. Billy Reid's another one, actually. She's just thinking that. See Billy Reid play?
No, but
I'm not saying. Have you seen Billy Reid?
No,
seeing Billy Reid play.
I've not.
That'd be interesting.
It'd be interesting, but I don't think he was as elegant and extravagant as the two.
No, but just like,
but no,
just to see him because of hindsight.
No, definitely. But before we finish, I've had a question popped out in my head that I want to actually ask you. So, who's your favourite ever Accies cult hero or heroes?
Cult in terms of not your stereotypical heroes, or not like your David Templetons, or
yes, no, like you're non-stereotypical, like the ones in which fans massively took to for their obscureness, let's say. Example would be the Pacquiao twins. That's what is off my head. Another one would be Joe Thomas.
I love the Pacquiao twins too.
That's the sort of idea I had in my head. Saris.
Saris.
Do you know what I mean?
Cyrus, who posts, by the way, nearly every week, him and an Accies talk. Do you follow him on Instagram? Aye?
No.
He posted a story the other day of just him and an Accies talk randomly, and I was like, good for you, Cyrus.
Oh, we do need a centre back.
Cyrus, moreover. I think, where is he playing? In Greece.
Aye.
In Greece, Cyprus, maybe? I don't know. A cult hero. I love the shout of the Pacquiao twins, because they used to frustrate the hell out of me, but I always loved to see them play. I remember when I was really young, I was one of those kids that was heavy influenced by who was around me, right? Maybe still am a wee bit. But when I was sitting, I sat just in front of John Patterson and that, and I remember when they were shouting abuse at, not abuse, but they were shouting criticisms at the Pacquiao twins, and I remember I stood up when I was really young and copied them and was like, that was rubbish, Pacquiao. And all the guys around me like, good for you, son, on you go, get to them and all that. And I loved that. The Chow Twins is a great shout. Joe Thomas is another great shout. See, this has really stumped me, actually. Because I want to say somebody like Grant Gillespie, who I think was underappreciated at his time at Accies, did well in loads of positions. Did well in loads of positions. But does he count? Because he played consistently.
He's not a cult hero.
It's shite if I go with the Pacquiao Twins because you said it, but that is a great shout. I do like the Pacquiao Twins. That's a really, really good shout. It's shite, but I'll go with the Pacquiao Twins. Okay. I loved the Pacquiao. I remember Naki used to do open days. I remember one of the. That's another suggestion. I remember used to be able to go into the changing room and see all the shirts hung up and all that. I remember we were promised that all the players would be there, and it was only the Pacquiao Twins that showed up, and they were quality. They took photos with every day. They were there for about 4 hours, having photos, signing shirts. There was a beat the goalie at the back, but it was beat the hammy, so it was hammy and goal. Hammy the hamster, that's what, not hammy the fan.
I hope not.
Hammy the hamster and goal, and they came out and took part in all that. They were brilliant. I'll go with the Pacquiao Twins.
Okay.
I'll go with the Pacheco.
I remember, I don't know if it was that season which we signed him or if it was the season after, but I read there was a picture the other day and it was showing the amount of players Nottingham Forest signed. I'm positive it was that season that we signed about 16 players.
We were on that list. I did see that.
We were on the list twice actually.
I did see that.
We genuinely signed about 16 players.
See, speaking of that list, see the other season, I think it was you need to correct me on this, was it 16-17 was the other season we signed loads of players were on that list?
Your Alex Penny's, your Aaron Smiths, your Tom Taiwo.
When me and you and Summers who were driving up to Cove Rangers, we played a game and tried to name them all. Do you know he got every single one and didn't even blink?
He's a fountain of knowledge.
He's mental, by the way.
He's like a mini Scotch Stars.
I don't know, out of the 16 I think I got 9 maybe or 10.
I would have said that this could have been another question but then we would probably go and cheat.
Do you want to try?
Let's try.
Right. Wait, I'll get the list up, right? I'll get the list up. This is interesting. I want to see if you get these. Because I kept naming them and, do you know, he kept going...
Shooting you down in flames.
He kept going, that was in January, doesn't count.
Fuck off.
That's what he kept saying. He's like, that was in January, doesn't count. I was like, alright, okay,
so
fair
did
enough.
he say it in a row? Or did he like...
Oh no, he knew it.
And of course he
knew it off the bat, mate.
You're a cheat,
Yep, Tom Taiwo, will give you.
Tom Taiwo, Alan Smith.
Yep.
Alex Penny. Massassin Bloomfield.
Yes.
His name was Mason, but we called him Massassin.
We've had one of them on the podcast. Probably one of our best episodes.
Did we say... That's the dang season, surely no?
Nope.
Aaron McGowan. There we are. Steve Davis.
Yep, but he was in January, so
it
it doesn't count you. And sorry. Do you want
George Oakley.
George Oakley.
No, it wasn't. That was Brian Rice. That was January. Maybe.
George Oakley. That was January. I can give you another hint.
Okay.
This was a centre back. Caused a lot of problems.
Matthew Kilgallen. But he was another one, wasn't he?
Matthew Kilgallen, but
the other one is what's his name? It was actually really good.
Nope.
No.
Aaron McGowan actually spoke about him in the podcast. Said he was doing Croydon.
Oh, big Delphin to Shambles.
Delphin to Shambles.
Fucking hell, man! How bad.
Again, another hint. Another one I can give you.
Just give me positions.
Centre mid, still in the team.
Scotty
Martin. Striker we got on loan, and I think he was on about 50k.
Fuck. Freddie
Brustad. A defender who could play multiple positions in the defence, who's played for Accies, I think, 3 times.
Ziggy.
Yep. Centre mid, who we got on loan.
This is the one I'm thinking, I think. What's his first initial?
Of his first name, A.
This is the one I'm thinking. I give up.
Don't want to give up.
Phillips,
Adam Phillips.
Aye.
For Norwich.
Aye, he was playing with Burnley. He signed with Burnley.
He did. He did. Another one we brought in was a striker who, again, has played with us multiple times.
End of that season.
He wore the number 10. Again, this is all coming for you, by the way.
What is actually going on with me right now?
You're tired. You just want a football tournament, to be fair.
Know.
A 40-man football tournament.
40-man football tournament that Lee McCall was playing.
James Keaton's. And I think you've got one more still to get. Oh no, sorry, you've got two more to get.
Okay.
One of them was a midfielder / winger who we got from Grimsby Town.
Oh, fucking the one that. Oh, what was his name, man? The ginger boy.
This is brilliant.
Sam. Fuck off. What was his name? Sam Kelly.
Sam Kelly, and one more as a left back who played multiple. Again, has been at us I think twice. He's got a club. He currently plays for. God, Dassendorf in the Oberliga Hamburg.
And he's played with his man once.
I think he played with us twice. 2 spells. I think one might have been a loan, but he's been at us twice. Do you watch The Big Bang Theory? Lenny Soa. There we go. We'll wrap up there, guys. Thank you very much for watching. As always, you can subscribe down below. Follow us on all our social medias. Links in the description. As we said before, comment. Brandon's racing. Look at him. As we said before,
I'm absolutely shattered. I just won a football tournament fortunes, right? It's fucking 20 to 10 at night.
Who was playing in that football tournament, by the way? Lee McCullough was playing it. We've been sitting here for an hour and 20 minutes.
Committed to the cause for you guys. It's fucking 20 to 10 on a Thursday. I have a baby who I should be seeing. I just won a football tournament. I'll get better at that.
Comment suggestions for fan engagement, what you want them to do for the 150th anniversary, any ideas like that, let us know.
The questions that's not been asked this week, we will get them asked.
Yep. We'll put another post out.
Another post out. Ones that haven't been asked this week, we'll include them in the next one. And if you've got any similar sort of questions which sort of offer like name
testers
X amount of players for a period of time or whatnot. Testers,
absolutely testers. As always, comment that down below. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you again soon.